Welcome to Cardone Debates, hosted by me, Dana Howell. First, we're going to bring up the guests for today. Today, we're going to be talking about homeschooling versus public school. So, where are you guys sending your kids? Gary, why don't you come on up? Wake up, folks. That's pretty cool. I like these. I like the style you've been doing recently, Gary.
Wake up, dogs. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hey, happy Monday. Wow,
Tuesday.
Yeah, like I said, happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
Dana, explain to me why you only have like a 6-second opening. I mean, most hosts, the Dana Howe show, most hosts give us some entertainment while people kind of come through the door, get their popcorn, their coffee, their drinky poo. Hopefully you're not driving and drinking. Okay, we do not support that behavior. I need to close some of these links, but why don't you entertain us a little bit while a few people come in? And what are we going to talk about today?
Well, look, I'm used to, being very close but no cigar with you. I'm used to this, done pretty well but could be better. So you're right. Next time I'm gonna write some jokes. Yeah, I can do that.
Exactly. I'm just pushing you to your limits. I know you can do that. I want to be entertained. Does anyone else want to be entertained on a debate?
A lot of people said that, Steve Jobs, they really liked working for Steve Jobs because he really pushed them to their limit.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So, okay, you don't know what we're talking about today. We're talking about homeschooling versus public school.
Oh, that's a great topic.
What's better? Where do people want to send their kids?
Yeah, well, they want to do what's convenient, right?
Well, I think most people probably do, but I don't know.
Hey, whatever team you put me on, I will end up there. It is down to convenience. I am a parent, and it is much more convenient sending the kids to school. Smash them away for 10 hours.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to do some rearranging because I actually put you on the homeschooling because I know what you. Go ahead.
Done. I'm done. Good. I would do homeschooling. Thank you. I've been allocated. By the way, we need debaters. Okay, we need debaters like me that are willing to take any side of the discussion. So you guys reach out, let us know. Y'all are going to get bored hearing from me and Eric and Dustin and Darkside. It's. I think you will anyway, and I think it's good to have other people. What do you think?
We've gotten a lot of interest actually. People who want to do debates.
Yeah.
So,
any of them communicate in English?
Are any of them in English?
Yeah, no, can they communicate? I was just kidding.
Yeah, as far as I know, they've only been speaking in English so far.
Well, good.
Yeah, I think they'll be really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think about bringing up the other folks? Or you want me to show some jokes?
I mean, I know them so well. It's not like I'm gonna really I saw him just the other day. Do we need to see him again? Really?
Should we just keep them behind like where they are right now, and they can just do audio?
It would be interesting. We could debate whether it's what the rules of good manners are when you're running a show like this. I mean, can you just dominate it and you and I just chat? If the audience is actually enjoying it, perhaps we should do that.
So we invite people on the debate, and then we just leave them behind the screen the whole time, and you and I just talk.
We bring them up when we need them.
Oh. Yeah, I know people who operate like that. They just put people on the shelf and call them in when they want them, that sort of thing.
Yeah, like Dustin. Dustin, what do you think? Do you think I use you like a call option, Dustin, and never pay you a premium for it?
The entertainment is here. Soul is above 190. Life is good. Let's go, baby.
Dude.
I was hoping you guys won't put me to sleep with all the boring chit chat.
Okay, go. You know what? Let's put Dustin back.
Soul rock, bro.
We should put Dustin back up.
Soul's doing better than Ethereum, dude. Hey, for you guys,
you come back. Dustin,
For
come
any
back.
of you guys out there that are going to judge this debate about what do we have the right to do and talk about education, most all of us, about 100% of us own a shitload of Bitcoin. So that is should already tell you that our understanding and perception of reality is just perfect, because we are maxis and we are maxi about everything and we're right about everything. I'm just totally kidding, but congratulations to all the Bitcoiners and the crypto people, because you're rocking and socking. Hopefully it's going to help whatever our education system ends up being. Just to bring the point up, hopefully it's going to be those people that help, because if they don't, I think the government is incapable of doing this job now. It's so messed up.
So you know what's funny about this topic is
What's
that again, me and Eric Rice are so in simpatico, it's stupid. And
lovers. I keep saying in the background that you guys are lovers.
I want to lay the grounds for this topic though, because like
they're a handsome crew, aren't they?
Me and Eric are ready to come out swinging. You have a duty to send your kids to public school.
Wow.
The interesting thing is I can debate both sides of this. I actually see both sides. So I'll take either stance, to be honest with you. But I think public school, if we keep secluding all the good kids into the private world, we're going to have an entire nation full of idiots that can't think for themselves. Create critical thinkers and have them challenge the system from within. But Dustin, I'm not into beards, man. I can't do the beard.
Who else we got up here? We got anybody else that's interesting? I mean, these guys.
Jamie, let's bring up Dark. Dark's our last man. Welcome, Dark.
My daughter, every time I get in my car, she puts the Pink Floyd album on. I got to think about you every time. I'm like, dude, he's good, but like, is there any other music? She's like,
oh, and me and Eric are lovers. Okay. Oh, I think
yeah, sure. Look at you two birds.
That was a death stare by Gary.
We can't hear you, Dark.
Darky.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, hey, man, they make a good point. If we don't have public schools, then who's going to buy Solana? So ultimately, public schools serve a purpose.
Dude, it was my public school behavior that went and bought Solana, and and the scary thing is, it's going to pay off big.
Cha-ching! That's what I'm talking about.
So if you guys are listening in, make sure that you follow these guys on Twitter. Dustin, you can find Dustin on Twitter. That's where you're most active, isn't it?
You should be playing the Queen music right now when you say that. When you go in to follow these guys, it should be "We are the."
Wait. Have you seen my Cheney? Cue up my intro video if you can.
Yeah, I need something like this. This is good. You guys show off.
We actually should do intro videos. This is.
We need a walk-up song for you guys.
We did.
Before we get paid, I can't promise.
We can do that. You guys want to send me your walk-up songs?
Definitely.
Yeah, no,
okay.
So I would be happy to get you guys custom intro videos made. They're a lot of fun.
Done.
Yeah, just slam the Star Spangled Banner from Jimi Hendrix by me. That'd be good for me. That'll live my life.
That is one quality riff right there.
Yeah, stupid.
Castles Made of Sand is my favorite Jimi Hendrix song, interestingly.
Yeah, Crosstown Traffic is mine just because it's such a naughty
Very
song.
quality.
Naughty. Okie dokie.
All right, Eric Dark. Yep. You guys are on Twitter too, so make sure you guys follow those guys. So here are the teams. The teams are Homeschool, Dark, and Gary.
We don't have to introduce ourselves and tell people how great we are, right? I had a whole script. I had Super Grok 17.
Oh, we have a lot of time actually to talk about how great you are.
Unbelievable. I mean, this guy Gary, he is a beast. But I won't take up too much time there.
I love when people walk into a room and they're like, "Excuse me, do you know who I am?"
Yeah.
I remember someone did this once, and his friend stood up and said, "I'm sorry, my friend can't remember who he is. Does anyone know? Does anyone know who this is?" Anyway, okay, so Dark and Gary, you're going to be on Homeschool. Then we're going to do Public School with Eric and Dustin. You guys know the rules because you've been on here before. You each have 2 minutes, and then You each have a 1-minute response.
Teacher, can I ask a question, please, before we start
Yes,
the
Gary.
game?
Yes.
Yes. You're looking very attractive today, Miss Teacher. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is exactly the way I would treat a female teacher. Oh man, you're looking so bright today. Can I get a B, please?
Sounds like Gary.
Oh, for sure. I mean, listen, the truth is, why would you not spread around a little sugar and honey if it's like you can tell people are parched? I don't know why you wouldn't do that. So it didn't cost me much. The question I have is public school and private. Are we bucketing those up and just saying, hey, kind of education and then homeschooling, which is private, someone's either doing it or hiring a teacher to do it and following a curriculum, I think, right? Following a curriculum or not, just free winging it.
That's fair. That's the way it works. Yeah, either send them to school or keep them at home. Doesn't matter if it's public or private.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay. Just for the audience, Gary here again, trying to clarify things for you guys so you're not lost like I am most of my life.
Well, now this isn't about, now this is really about convenience. Like you said, Gary, this is a talk about convenience or not.
We don't need to draw the result. I think we just need to have the discussion, outsource education or insource. I mean, really, that is what we're talking about. The insourcing is how much, and I've done all of this. So what level of the private teaching do I want to participate in? Now, for me, it was very low because I think all of it's bullshit. So I do. I literally think they would be better off playing in the woods till they're about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we
sure.
should categorize it based on age too, right? So
that I think it's good to, like, we keep learning from these debates. Hey, isolate the conversation. Otherwise, we're going to all hate each other.
Yeah, we got elementary, middle, and high school. I think those are 3 different categories.
Okay, so are we looping them in together though for both homeschool or sending them out to school for grade school? Not college, but we're just talking about grade school.
Let's keep it general school, and then we'll refine it, because I think we're going to find out that we have different opinions for different stages of school.
Yeah, maybe it's not going to matter in 2 years anyway. So
yeah, I agree with that.
That's the hilarious thing. So let's roll, DD.
All right. So who's going to go first? Homeschooling or outsource school?
I think I could especially if my intro video is ready, I'll take the excuse and go first.
I don't think we have the.
I don't have it ready yet, but it will be ready. It will be ready.
The only time I've ever seen Dustin prepared on time when he could promote something first. It's. You got any other projects you'd like to flip out there?
Not yet. Maybe next week.
You got Dustin coin you're launching or anything like that?
You know, I'm always working on something. People have tried to launch my like a Dustin coin before, and I blew it up. I'm like, what are you doing to me?
Hey, Dustin.
I'm ready.
You don't get it?
Let's go.
Think about it.
Are we ready?
Yeah, man, we're waiting.
Yeah, we're ready. You get 2 minutes. Cheney, can you give Dustin 2 minutes? So you're doing outsourcing school.
Hey, Cheney, just before we start,
I'm actually team public school.
Could you take the coon ass off him? That filter you guys have on him right now, that coon ass swamp look?
It's a good look. I even trimmed the beard for you today. So
you got a chest hair going. You got it all rock. A chain. You look like you're ready to argue in the 70s. Love it, dude.
This is Florida man at his finest. Thank you very much. So, all right. I actually am really excited for this, considering that I'm known for my deep-seated hatred of government. My position on this often surprises people. So essentially, there's 2 different audiences that I want to speak to encourage you to send your kids to public school. The first are those of you who are not retards. If you have any semblance of a brain and you realize that the school system is a complete and total joke, like pretty much everybody else, you actually have an obligation to send your kids to school. Why? Because without your kids there, kids learn more from their peers than they do the textbooks. They learn more from their peers than they do their teachers. So if you're raising your kids right, you need to send your kids so we don't end up in the idiocracy where all of the kids, right, all of the smart kids get isolated out, and all of the dumb kids have to learn from the even dumber teachers, which leads us in like a stupid death spiral, if you will. Now, for the other part of the audience, you're an idiot. You were born an idiot. You're probably always going to be an idiot. And for you, the convenience of public school make it a no-brainer. We don't want, right? Your only hope of your kids growing up not to be as dumb as their parents, meaning you, is that you send them to learn from my kids about how the world really works. And the only way your kids are getting access to the smart kids like my kids is by going to school. So if you're in the dumb class, you got to send the kids to be around the kids, the people who are, in the smart class, like moi. You got to go send your kids to learn from my kids. Game over. Thank you. I don't think we need to debate anymore.
All right. Thank you for being inflammatory as usual. So
Happy to be of service.
Dustin has made the open argument. That means that now we're going on to homeschooling. So Dark or Gary, you're going to have 2 minutes. Who would like to go?
I could have sworn I will always allow my guests to show up first. But before I do that, I thought Dustin just represented our case, Dark.
Yeah,
Did he
absolutely.
Not? Did he not?
Absolutely.
Dark, please. I think it's just
look.
for you.
Yeah, no, thanks for putting the ball on the tee for me, Gary. Look, in the end, the kids are our future. Our kids mean everything to us. We do everything for our children. Why are you aiming for the common denominator, right? The entire argument there was let's go to that common denominator. Yeah, for me, the ability to work with your children. First, let's say this. Children probably only learn 3 hours a day, which means the other 6 hours a day that they're sitting in school, they're just wasting time when they could be learning culture. They could be traveling. They could be seeing the world. They could be learning about different cultures. For us, we started at public school. That didn't work out for us so great. I just felt that our kids would be best served with a hybrid environment of homeschooling. In my son's case, we actually unschooled my son. It was an incredible experience, meaning he basically picked his subject matter and studied himself, and he loved it, absolutely loved it. My daughter was an excellent athlete. She was involved in club level gymnastics, and she excelled in a homeschooling environment. Again, they're not forced to be in front of a teacher 7-8 hours a day, but able to pick your subject matter and study deep. And look, my kids both learned about Bitcoin when they were 12 and 13 years old, right? We had classes on Bitcoin. We discussed decentralization. We discussed markets. They were exposed to the finest things in the world because they were with their parents and they were being educated by people that actually wanted to teach to the highest possible level. I think that's super important. I don't have to pick point any further than to our public school unions, teachers unions, and you can see the craziness that comes out of that situation. Yeah, I want to keep my kids as far away from Randy Weingarten as possible, and to me, homeschooling is the only possible way forward.
All right. Thanks, Dark.
You hear that, Eric? Dark says if his kids go to school, they can't be smart, right? It's impossible to have them both in public school and be awesome. It's not possible.
It can't happen. Can't happen. Well, let's get our 2 minutes up.
Okay. Eric,
you got to start without full clock.
Yep, I'm getting my full time here. So our country has been infiltrated by phonies. Our government has been infiltrated by foreign entities, by bad actors. The education system has been completely polluted. I don't believe that public education, specifically public education, teaches anything at all. And in fact, they're lowering the standards for students to get through. These all sound like horrible things, and they will create a horrible society unless we actually act as parents and send our children off as the light into the darkness. One of the things about school that's very important, and of course we think of it as learning and education, From somebody who was a C student in college, I can tell you I learned more by just being at college than I did in any class from other kids. We are desocializing our youth. They do not know how to interact with other people. They're already on their phones 90% of their day. And when they're at home, homeschooling that I've seen, which I'm actually a proponent, I'm not against homeschooling. I think you need to prepare your kids to send them off into the wild at some point, and school gives that opportunity. Homeschooling by itself is the same curriculum. If you're talking about education, it's the same curriculum. If you want to homeschool your kid with credentials, you have to take the same classes at home. Many people will send their kids off to school for convenience. I actually try to take proactive stance in parenting and make sure that I teach my kids the truth, so when they learn a lie in school, they can be the ones who question it. We have a society that's completely void of people with courage who are willing to stand up and question the social norms or educational standards. And the more that we remove them from the system, the further the system gets from providing benefit to the youth. So I think if we look at schools, the way they're changing, I can speak specifically. Today is the first day of school for my kids today. They removed all phones this year. They are actually offering theology classes in public school. The school system is changing around. I think Trump has something to do with that, with the Board of Education removal of funding. But guys, it's pretty simple. You know, we have people fleeing blue states for red states to live in a peaceful world. I totally get it. But we've got to stand our ground at some point and recreate America from the inside out. And that starts with our youth, who need to learn how to get through adversity and challenge the system from within.
Thank you, Eric. Very eloquent as always. Gary.
Well, yeah, this is an interesting conversation, that's for sure. I guess I've got a minute to beat this idea into the ground. I think what Eric said is a really nice, beautiful fairy tale story that he's going to send two little butterflies into a 1,000-man public school. Public school, let's see, up in Pinellas County, the largest one, I think it has like an 8% rate of suspending kids. So that's nearly 100 children a year are being sent to jail or not being allowed to, continue the school year. That to me is frightening. I have been a student, not a student of a private education, and all I learned was to tap my feet and be very frustrated. In fact, if they had Ritalin back then, they'd have probably smashed me onto it, because I found the entire process 10 years completely boring. Having said that, my mother could not afford to send me and Grant to private school, so there was no choice there. I made the best of it. I think you just got to get the kids through it without becoming drug addicts or like lazy. I mean, completely and incompetent. So I don't see the stats coming out of public school that reflect a solution that's sustainable for a country. No chance. That is what makes people dangerous, by the way. Okay, like I think most people, like my brother was arguing with somebody the other day about, I do believe most people are good, but like most people are not willing to go the extra mile to get there. Like it's one thing, hey, at my core, I'm good, but at my core, am I incentivized and disciplined enough to do something? I'm actually a very good student when there is a great teacher. And the truth is, none of this matters. Anyone that tells me they cannot do private school in the future, you're not seeing AI. And to me, that is a really beautiful thing. We should wipe out the entire Department of Education in its entirety, and we should let robots do this. And you can do community robots. I'm not talking about Zoom, dude. I'm talking about people going to a play field, learning how to dig a ditch. Guess what? You know why? You know why we stopped doing gym? Because we stopped being able to hire coaches and athletes as teachers. Because our teachers don't want to do gym. That's why. And and I know, everybody going out for 20-minute walks makes their mind work better. It actually allows kids to interact and get along with each other. We don't do any of that shit anymore. It's bullshit, dude. To suggest that any public school or private, my kids go to Shorecrest Private. I do not like you guys. I think you're ridiculously poor value. It's really sad. And I would have given them millions of dollars. Here's an example. I offered them $1 million of Ethereum and said one rule. you can't sell this to my last kids out of school. Not passed, not given an A, not given a D, literally, I just want you to hold on to the Ethereum because I knew it would force them to get one of their students to manage their finances. You know what they said? They said, the board requires us to liquidate anything that comes in that's not cash. I said, well, you're an idiot. And they will, that response. My school passed up on $1 million of Ethereum because it wanted to liquidate it. That's who's teaching our children.
So there's some interesting comments I've
You're
seen.
going too long, guys. Dana, you got to cut me off.
It's about compliance. Well, everyone got 2 minutes other than you, so
Oh, okay.
I let that go.
So shout out to everybody watching. So Maria in the comments had a couple good questions. Number one, should the government force schooling? Number one. And then two, is school a federal issue or should it be relegated to the states? So on both of those, listen, believe it or not, your boy Dustin was not a good student. And right when Gary says, like, I'm a great student if I have a good teacher. Well, guess what? Well, I can't really say this because I'm not really a great employee, regardless of how good my boss is. Right. But for most people, I assume that like they work best when they work for a great boss. School trains you, right? Like, yes, we all hate school. Public schools are a joke. You're not sending your kids to learn. You're sending them to resist the brainwashing that they're going to have to endure their entire life. You're sending them to learn to engage with what society more broadly is going to look like. It's no accident that, like Gary and Grant, myself, a lot of great leaders went to public school and learned how to interact with the full spectrum of people, right? And especially in Bitcoin, there's a tendency to be like, we have this shit so figured out. Look at me, I'm dark side. I don't need to go do regular, normal human stuff. I'm just going to surround myself with other Bitcoiners.
All right.
We're going to no dark side.
Wow.
That's how you make a podcast introduction.
Boss Coin coming to a town near you.
Who's that Chad they had in the video? That's not even you.
I love, my favorite part is where I'm hugging a lion. Like,
That's the best.
Here's my
That was the
lion.
best.
I just love to give it hugs.
That whole video looked like a public school, ironically. The whole
What a
thing.
great role model. Yeah. I'm team public school now. That's a great video.
Yeah, I don't know.
You make that, Cheney? Awesome video.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, look, just to counter the narrative here. We're for alpha males. I went to public school. I think we all went to public school. If what I'm hearing is correct. But for alpha males, it's sort of an easier road to hoe, right? If you're not one of the big, strong, tough, then you get eaten in an environment that can be absolutely brutal. Look, I believe that we should try to nourish kids and get them into an environment where they can succeed. I think the one thing public school fails at most is putting people into a situation where they can find success. What we were able to do through a homeschooling, unschooling process is make sure our kids were put into a position to succeed, to taste success, to feel success, to have wins on a daily basis. That's the key to success. That's the key to happiness. Right? If you want to have a happy kid, have a successful kid. Have a kid that wins almost every day. Yeah, they learn how to lose, but learning how to win is super important. And I think that you cannot foster that environment by sticking your kid in a public school environment for 10 hours a day and then, showing up to pick them up at the end of the day when they've been beaten up by the system.
Thank you, Dark. All right. Eric.
If I could say a couple of things, because this is maybe
No, Gary, 0 things you can say. No.
Yeah. Well, I thought I was on space and nobody could see me. I just think about my kids. So my kids went to Montessori school. I would bring them and pick them up at 3:00 every day. I mean, if I was out of town, okay, maybe not. But I mean, most every day I did that. And then we moved to London and it became like, we can't do it. In fact, I realized that the school, which I consider to be the lowest common denominator, by that, I mean, hey, it should be taking you 3 hours to do this and it's taking you 8. So I know I'm pretty much giving you away to 8 because it's convenient for me. I think that people, if they really wake up, go, whoa, this is just convenient. You're going to say, I can't afford it. I can't afford to take care of them. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, is it a good foundation for them? Removing them from the school system because we were traveling and having a private teacher served a lot of really cool things. One, we went on holiday whenever the freak we wanted. We were in chalets in Verbier, okay, when they were 6 years old skiing. Now, you may say, oh, Gary's flaunting. Hey, if you were a kid when you were 8, would you have liked to skied on 3 countries in one day? Is that valuable to you? I didn't say I was staying in a, great super hotel. I happen to be, but that's not the point, right? It's like just the experiences. And the teacher could come with us. It also allowed us to build a business and not disconnect from our children. So and now I have kids that they don't think about their telephones really. They are in a public system now or private school. It was shocking for them the first year or two, but they had defined their character by themselves. This is the problem, I think, in school. School is that I'm constantly looking at everyone and it's okay to compare. And the truth is I shouldn't be comparing. I shouldn't want to be like my teacher or superstar. I should figure out who I am first. And I think that one-on-one, man, that would have been so valuable to me. In fact, it's the only time I excelled with a coach when it was one-on-one.
All right. I'm going to rebut to Dark's stance here because in a perfect world where everyone can win every day, we certainly wouldn't disagree that that's a good thing for our kids. But I think if we look at the span of school versus life, so we live to be about 80 years old right now, you got about 10 years in school. So 1/8 of your life is spent in a difficult environment. If that's done properly with good parenting at home, you have the ability to kind of challenge the system, teach them things that they need to understand while they're interacting with their peers. Of course, they're going to learn bad habits, and you as a parent get to help them unlearn those bad habits. But I think the most important thing for kids is to learn how to deal with adversity early on. I think one of the reasons that we're living in the society we are right now with overreactions, violence, these massive school fights is because we have a lot of kids who never experienced adversity. And the first time they do, they lash out. I think the public school experience or schooling experience, whether it's public or private, I think it's invaluable for kids from a social perspective, from an emotional perspective. And I think it's one that builds strength. Nothing wrong with taking a loss. We're looking at a society of everyone gets a trophy and everyone gets a ribbon. How's that turning out for us? And I think when we look at wins for kids, they're not dumb. They understand that a wiffle ball game is not the same as a state championship baseball game. And I want them to have that experience in life where, yes, you have a goal, you achieve the goal. It's difficult to do. You fail or you succeed, but you learn to deal with it in the end. And I think that's invaluable for kids, which is why I am a homeschooler at heart. I would have no problem homeschooling my kids that are older now. I think when they're little, keep them at home. But I think at high school, they've got to get out in the world. within the next, year or 2 years at that age, they're going to be thrust into a job or starting a business or doing some sort of gig work. They're going to need to deal with people. And the longer you homeschool them, keep them away from society, number one, the worse they get. Number two, the worse society gets. Again, I will say the job of a parent is to build a beacon of light and send it off into the darkness. This has been going on forever. Our school systems aren't magically horrible. They've been horrible for 50 years. The school system by itself is a prison system. They even call where you play as a kid the yard. There's cinder block walls. These are things I want my kids to never want to go into again. And when they get out of school, the ambition that they've got, from that perspective is just different. And I think kids need to experience that adversity. I think it's very important.
Yeah, well, go to prison, learn prison skills.
Why don't you just do a prison in your closet?
Thank you, Eric. Guys, we have about 1,700 people here. Remember to like and reshare.
Did they all go to
Follow all
private?
these guys.
Did they get private school training? Because if they didn't, you shouldn't really care about those 3,700 people. They're worthless.
I'm just challenging you on this, Dark. We're in a debate. I'm just coming at you, buddy.
A closet at Eric's house and have his wife torture them every morning with Fruit Loops.
With rod and lash.
Dark, how many people are you hiring out of college right now that actually even have their light bulb on?
Yeah, pretty much none. Yeah. Look, the system's failed, right? When Eric paints this rosy picture of adversity and you're going to learn how to deal with others and you're going to learn how to get along. Well, that's just not reality. Reality is you're going to get beaten up. You're going to get pushed around. You're going to get forced into situations where you feel extremely uncomfortable. Look, you can learn these skills by doing club sports, by being involved in all types of church-related things. There's a ton of ways for you to get your kids into a positive environment where they learn to deal with adversity and learn to deal with other children without being in prison. I think that was the perfect analogy. Right? You send your kids to prison, they learn prison games. They learn how to deal with prison type situations. Speak to anyone who's been to prison. It's not a good place. It's not a place you want to be. It's not a place you want to learn. The skills you learn in prison, man, they really don't pass through to real world life. So great analogy, Eric. But yeah, I'll keep my kids out of prison, and I'll consider that a huge win.
I got to say, I learned a lot of naughty things. Okay. I mean, I learned a lot of naughty things. That doesn't mean that it's funny, because I'll go back to I know some of those kids that I grew up with. Grant and I were really bad. I mean, Grant was obnoxious. The good kids, the kids of the teacher 20 years later go, dude, you were so cool. And the truth is, dude, I was so in trouble. Like I was fucking dying for some mentorship. See, if I would have had, so I'm not saying if I would have had, because I don't think that really matters. First off, I don't think this organized education run by governments has been around for more than a couple hundred years. And I think human beings have been surviving pretty well without this organized religion where some idiot 22-year-old comes in as a math teacher, then ends up teaching history. That's nuts. Dude, that's a bad nanny. Okay, that's not really an educator. That's why I'm so excited about AI. And I don't really care what my kids make in school. I could care less. It's really sad. I don't care if they make a C, a B, a D, a E. You know what? One, all the scales have changed. An A now is like 88 or 90 to 100. You don't get an A for doing 10%. Come on, missing 10%. That's not great. It's good. But what if it's the most important 10%? It's not so good. So the ability to, there's so many classes they don't even need to know. And most of it's lies anyway. That's the really sad thing. Anyway, I think the system is breaking down when most people, what are the stats on people leaving public schools being able to speak and read at above a 4th grade level? That is an institution you destroy, dude. You burn it down at the very core. That's toxic. This is really, really horrible. Imagine if I was an employee and I had those stats. I speak at a 4th grade level and I'm working for you. You're insuring me. Come on. I don't want my children working for a 4th grade IQ. Like, you see where this is going? It's like, it's good. Y'all keep talking about this, the superior people. Hey, the superior people are getting more superior. And this is a problem. The gap is becoming so large.
But how does withdrawing the superior kids from all the rest of the kids, right, do anything but further that gap that you're talking about, right?
But you can't suffer. You can't suffer your discipline. It's like throwing your best people into the war before there's ever been a bullet fired. You throw the chatter out there first. Let it go out and let soften up shit. But you don't waste your best instruments. Why would we do that?
Thank you for the donation.
It's not wasted, right? The fact of the matter is that people have the ability and like good parents are going to be good parents, whether their kids are going to public school or they're going to private school or they're being homeschooled. I'll admit, like, right, for me, it's been a mix based on the skill sets and sociability of each of my 4 kids, right? As far as making sure that I am giving them the tools to go into the schools to be as absolutely chaotic and tear it down as fast as they can from the inside. Like, all right, I trained each of my kids, like, you're going to a place where you're going to learn how to deal with stupid people. And this is going to be a really important life skill because at every job you're ever going to have, you're going to have to deal with these personalities. I think back, it's almost insane to me how much I can take one of the high school archetypes and apply it to anybody within minutes after meeting them. Oh, that was the cool kid. Oh, that was the job. Oh, that was the kid who got bullied and is out to prove something. That's the kid who got bullied and gave up on life. Like that's the kid who started like smoking weed outside, right? Like really early on. It's wild how much these archetypes, right, play out over and over and over again. And so for me, there's no better opportunity to go learn about the people in society, the people you're going to have to interact with, the people you need to avoid interacting, highly manipulative people, the people who smile in your face and stab you in the back. Those are all things that whether you withdraw your kids from like, and again, I get that you can they also get socialization at, what dark side, what's that sport where they ride horses and
Equestrian.
Yeah, no, the other one, polo.
Polo. Like, that's like the most expensive sport in the world. You have to ship your horse around the world.
Right. So yes, you could go interact with other little elitists at the polo club, right, or at the golf course at the country club, but you're not interacting, right, and dealing with each like these archetypes, which for me, as much as I hated being in school, and I barely, like, I graduated because I was charismatic and smiled and made people laugh and begged my teacher, like, oh, you really want me back for another year? Of course they did not, right? But I barely got through high school, and I spent less than a semester in college before I dropped out and started playing poker. And it has never hindered me from working for world leaders or presidential. Not one person ever has questioned, where is your diploma? Where is your certificate? I'm not even joking. Not once has that ever happened.
I'm wondering.
Go ahead, Dana.
Well, I was just going to say, since some of you have kids in school already, you're saying that they're changing a little bit, like their curriculum's changing a little bit. I spoke to a girl, I don't know, a couple of months ago who doesn't have grades. And I was thinking, like, well, I know a couple colleges were doing this. They're getting rid of grades. It's like pass or fail. And this happened around COVID. But now it's trickling into grade school. I'm just wondering, if you want to be a doctor, how you actually get into a school to then get your degree if you actually want to go that route. This is not a route I would take. But hypothetically speaking, what is the system then? Like, what's the plan? Because if
Look,
somebody's doing heart surgery, we should probably know if they have a grade, if they studied, right?
Yeah, well, if you aim for mediocrity, you know what you get? You get mediocre results. If you aim for excellence, you get amazing results, right? We always stress to our kids the importance of achieving excellence, whether that was working on a particular classroom project, or whether that was participating in athletics, whether that was even in the case of my son. I think I've mentioned this before. He wanted to play Minecraft. I didn't want him to play Minecraft, but I said, if you're going to play Minecraft, you're going to build your own computer. And then he said, but I need a server. I said, well, you're going to build a server. You're going to learn how to do it. Right. And eventually he became like a big deal in this Minecraft community because he didn't aim for the middle. He didn't aim for the bottom. I made him aim for the top. And you know what he achieved? He achieved the top. When he started, he knew nothing about building a computer. Right. These are the types of opportunities that are afforded to you when you're around your children, when they're in an environment where they can achieve excellence. They're not the public school system sets out to achieve mediocrity. And one other point, my wife and I spent 5 years traveling around the country in the RV. I can't tell you how many different schoolies we ran into. For those that don't know what a schoolie is, it's a school bus. These parents modify a school bus, turn it into an RV. They have usually 3, 4, 5 kids with them, and they're teaching their kids every day. And I'd run into these schoolies, and I'd say, hey, look, can I teach a 2-day class on blockchain? I'd like to teach your kids about Bitcoin. Absolutely. I'll teach them about markets. Let me teach them about how options work and how exchanges work. When you get out in the real world, you can achieve excellence. If you aim for mediocrity, you're going to get exactly what you aim for. So I don't even know how we're having this discussion, but let's go ahead and have it. I know we're winning, Gary. Let's just it's almost time to spike the football, but just not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can spike the football yet, because part of the argument here is regional. So I'm absolutely astute because I moved from California to Texas. So in California, I was getting ready to pull my kids out of school and homeschool them. They were getting caught absolutely nonsense. When I got to Texas, we looked at curriculum. They teach the Constitution, things that, of course, I could teach them on my own. Of course, I can do that. I do it every day. I teach my kids every night at dinner. It's open season to ask questions about the world and their experience at school to help them become better people. Now, when we look at the regionality of this, I think the major issue comes down to our education system, beginning in about 1863, when it actually formed, has slowly become an indoctrination camp. That's the biggest problem people have. Lack of discipline, lack of grades. These are all byproducts of indoctrination. The problem is that we can certainly build strong kids on our own that live in a bubble, but we still have to live in a community. We still have to live in a town. We still have to live in a state, and we still have to live in a country. And I think if we continue to pull kids out of school without making any changes to the school system from a personal perspective, I have nothing wrong with that. I think every parent has every right to do what they want to do. I was there too. However, when you send kids off to school to challenge the system, to learn where the psyops are occurring, where the fake news is, and start to spark other kids' critical thinking. Because here's the major missing point of education today: critical thinking. You go to school, they teach you to memorize things, you memorize them, you pass, you get advanced to the next level. That's all it is. So if you know that that's what it is, you can actually create a better environment for the kids around you and start challenging it or thinking critically. I still remember being kicked out of a class as a junior year in high school, challenging who actually won World War II, right? So that was, to me, that was a question that was pretty obvious. One communist gained land. We didn't get anything except dead bodies and a currency. And that question today, I still have people from high school going, I remember when you did that. I never thought of it that way. So if we just remove all critical thinking, which is what public school is trying to do, by the way, that is 100% the goal. It is a Rockefeller system designed to create employees. That's exactly what it is. But right now, 94% of our kids go to that system. That's 94% of our future citizens go to that system. If we don't have a Neo in there breaking the matrix, that matrix will get stronger, not weaker. And the more that we pull these kids out of school and silo them in their own perfect worlds, I think it's great for them. But will that be great for society as a whole in the future? That's the question that I have. And I think that we should be focused more on changing the school system, modifying it to the needs of the kids, because there's nothing more
Eric,
advantageous.
I got to tell you, Eric, I disagree 1,000% with you. And
Good.
the reason I disagree, yes, because you're not willing to rip the Band-Aid off and let's actually look. The system is parasitic at this point. It's sucking the life. These people do not deserve to have a job if we can only get C minuses.
Gary, we're in a debate. I have one side of the debate, my friend.
Yeah, but this is the problem. Okay, it never improves here because the very bottom of the fucking nothing. The very we lost 1 million teachers in the last 2 years. You think we lost the worst teachers or the best? You know, if you go survey these teachers, they'll tell you the best teachers. Hey, what's your biggest hang up? What's your biggest irritation on school? Every one of them. Now, why the hell would there be politics in school when everybody's making 65 G's? Except the principal, Nancy, makes 300 large, man. 300 large a year, private school, right? Now you have a gap between Nancy being a grade principal, and the public school over here that you pay, Eric, and they're making 90 grand. So guess what you're going to have? You're going to have all the $90,000 doctors go to the private school. So what you're doing, you're literally talking yourself into, like, you know how value works, dude. And it's like throwing some innocent, look, the system is so bad. Like you said it yourself. You said, hey, these people are actually indoctrinating. They are evil if they're indoctrinating a child. If you're fucking telling me you're a teacher or a principal of teachers, and your job is to robotize a mind that's 8 years old, you should be thrown in fucking prison. Okay, we should revolt, dude. I need people like you revolting because you're going to pay for this. 80% of the people can't pay for it. The other thing we should do is go to the U.S. government, go to Trump. I've offered this to Elon. I've offered it to Trump. Nobody wants to listen. Let me compete with the billions of dollars you give. If I can, I will put together a fucking program and let me compete for some of those billions of dollars. Like you're going to have to fix the system from without, and it can't be a private system. By the way, my private system, me paying $50 a year, it's only helping my shame over sending my children to a fucking poisonous. Like they know more about being gay and lesbian. So I didn't know any of that shit. None of that. I was confused. I didn't know if my teacher was a lesbian or if he was married or if he wasn't married. Who cares? I was told to honor them and mind my own damn business. Now it's like, oh, hey, I saw Alice today. Who's Alice? Oh, Alice, my teacher. 22. These are friends, man. My kids literally have teachers that are using the children as an emotional washing board over their day because they had a rough day, because they had a flood. By the way, the school system, the public system should have taught every one of you guys that you're a criminal if you don't take your kid to school every day, but the school is not required to take you or your child. And that is insanity. You pay a fine. You're a criminal if you don't.
Dustin, you're muted.
I'm muted.
Oh, I'm muted. See, the thing about that indoctrination, though, is it doesn't stop in school.
Exactly.
Right? The point of schools is learning how to be resilient to the indoctrination, right? So, like you as a good parent, what we're not saying like send your kids to public school. It's awesome. What we're saying is it's reflective of how broken society is going to be your entire freaking life. And your opportunity to learn how to be resilient to and resistant to that kind of like nonsense starts like in school. And I'll say this, the current class of kids is going to be the next great generation. So, right, you want to talk about pushback? The kids that came up with this, men aren't really men and men can be women and we don't know what color the sky is and like all this stupid nonsense that the pendulum went too far, and this is the generation that's rebelling against it overwhelmingly. I've seen some numbers that are mind-boggling. Like the number of kids, the number of males between the ages of 18 and 25 who identify as Democrats is less than 8%. That's usually a Democrat retard stronghold, right? Is like dumb college dudes who are like, maybe the feminist chicks will put out, right? Like that's usually like one of their like strongest age groupings. And they've completely lost it with their nonsense. And so again, you send the kids in because the lessons they're learning there aren't from the textbooks. It's how to engage with the broader society and the public. And that indoctrination will not stop, right? Whatever they're getting in school, we're getting on social media ads and in the television series, right? Like it is a full spectrum psyop machine. And so you as a parent, you send your kids in and you teach them, like, this is how to spot. These are the red flags when somebody is lying to you or they don't really understand the information. This is how they shut down discussion by, right? Like anybody who questions an official narrative, it's an ism, or, right? You teach them, it's the best opportunity to teach your kids to be resistant to all that nonsense. Don't get me wrong. All of their real education, all of their real learning that kids will do will not come from a school. You cannot subcontract that out to anybody.
I think that's the most important part of the conversation is, there are parents who subcontract. They're basically giving away raising their children to the school system. That's not what we're talking about at all. We're talking about being solid parents. When you have the time available with your kids, you use it wisely. When you have all day, I mean, I live in a neighborhood where we have probably a third of the kids here homeschooled. I have yet to see any of these kids not on their phone. So what are they learning? They're just kind of hanging out with mom and dad while they work at home. It's the same thing. They could be learning from other kids, good and bad. They could be learning. One of the most important things that I learned as a kid was seeing the exact opposite example of what I wanted to be. Like that's a big important part of like looking at the kid in school and being like, I don't want to be like this guy at all. You're not seeing that at home. We have the education piece. First of all, if we're done with the debate, because I'm just sticking to my debate category here. So I actually really totally agree with you guys. The problem is, do we have enough schoolies or do we have enough buses out there to maintain status or make a change? We do need to burn down the educational system. It is an indoctrination camp. Half of our history is a complete lie. It's one-sided stories. Math is justifiably the same thing where, I was there when Obama launched whatever that stupid way of learning, core competency or core, whatever it was ridiculous. Common Core, stupid core, retard factory. Like I've seen that. So I actually had a chance to go to my kids and go, I know they want you to think this way, but this is actually how you solve these problems a lot more efficiently. And then they went through the same thing I went through. How did your son get the answer to this question without proving his work? Because he's smart and he learned how to figure it out on his own, but he saw the wrong example first and went the right direction. These are important things. Like they're both sides. Actually, there's another debate where both sides, I can see both sides. But I will say regionally, if I was in California, I'd be advocating for homeschooling nonstop. In Texas, where we live, now not all schools in Texas are good. Where we live, this is a really good school. Now they still have the same BS that happens there with fights and mean kids and all that. But guess what? That doesn't end when you get out of school. That actually starts. It's just amplified in school.
I think it'd be cool if you guys all put a school together.
Gary, I did. I was an investor in a venture capital school. Yeah, I invested in that.
Blockchain. Yeah. I just wanted to say something about that girl that I was talking about a couple months ago. This is happening where it's like pass or fail. Another important part that I forgot about was that there's files on all these kids. And I was imagining a teacher opening up like a Dustin file and what they would find. They're using it as a way to enforce compliance. And, if like your kids are, say your parents, Dustin or Dark or Gary or Eric, they'll be able to sufficiently ignore this or move on and overcome almost any obstacle. But if they don't have parents that think for themselves, this is a really big issue because they're just learning how to live in fear. Oh, what's going to be in my file? Oh, it's like detailed descriptions on how they weren't following the rules or this other thing that they did from the perspective of the teacher. And it just lives in their file forever.
Well, this is symptomatic of a broader spectrum. I mean, we right now have a ton of people who are excited because they're making money off Palantir. Palantir is literally a CIA cutout created by In-Q-Tel, who is creating a file on you right now with full government approval and endorsement. So you could look at it from that perspective and say, kids, you might as well have a file in school. You're going to have a file as an adult. I mean, that's where
everywhere.
we are.
So for years, I've been giving parents a mission, like, right. So obviously went incredibly psychotically deep on education, like I do with almost everything. And right, I used to give parents a challenge. So the kids take an end of year test. I can't remember, like every kid from the time they're in like 3rd grade, right, all the way through graduation of high school are required to take this big end of year test. And it's like a 3-day on the computer test. It's like, right, it's the biggest test that like they prepare for by far. Go try to find out what last year's questions were. Go try to find out what information is collected from the test. Does it include psychological markers? Then, right, ask whether that data is allowed to be sold or whether it's kept and stored securely. And those answers will screw your head up about what's really going on in the schools. So I had somebody, I shouldn't even say this because they might show, like this was something that would get your account taken down in the past. But I got, right, some, secret recordings of these tests in action. They're different for each kid. They're designed to cause stress factors. And then, right, the questions get responses. That data is then sold to private companies who have no obligation not to resell it.
Yeah.
We also have zero guardrails in place, zero, about what that data can be used for. Can it be used for profiling? Can it be used for social credit score? Can it be used in job selection? There are zero guardrails about this data. We don't know exactly what's being collected. We don't know exactly who is the end recipient of it. We have no stoppage of them being able to sell it, and we have no idea what it's being used for. It's mind-boggling, and 99.9% of parents just don't give a shit because they don't want to challenge the 8 hours a day that they're not child rearing.
Yeah, I think those are great points, right? Amazing points, actually. And one of the reasons why I'm so happy my kids didn't get submitted to that. But I'll say this, that tons of respect for Dustin and Eric arguing what I think is sort of a losing battle here as far as trying to defend the system. The one thing that one of the things that I think I'd stress is that I never wanted my kids to fight my battles. And I think the education system has become a parent's battle at this point. It's so broken. To Gary's point, it's a parasitic, right? I don't want my kids out in front fighting my battles. That's a parent's battle. And for my 2 cents, I'll fight my battles. I'll put my kids in a position where they can succeed. They're going to face adversity. They're going to face hard times. They're going to face good times. But having them fight my battles, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Also, I think, I find myself in a position where I'm a fairly active guy, right? Like this would be I find it very difficult that I'm not walking in that school on a regular basis saying, hey, you guys are assholes, but do you know how bad my kids would be if I did that?
Yeah.
And they know that I have the potential to do it. They're like, please don't do it. Because they know I'm like, the place is horrible. And it's been gutted. When the teachers say that politics is the biggest issue, let me just remind everyone what that means, okay? That people refuse to say things when they see them happening and they should not be occurring. That is what politics means. And so now once I do that, man, I don't know how people live with themselves. Like, you get to a point where you've just violated a thing, and then you're like, hey, I'm just a teacher. Where do I have to go? So this is really, I don't know what the fix is. I think the fix is going to be AI, though. I really believe that. And like, I can't believe that I'm not going to be able to buy in 18 months something capable of at least educating a kid. I would rather the kid not know how to play basketball and know something about history, unless he is like super athlete and that's really what he's going to go learn that anyway. Like, I don't believe that Michael Jordan's dad not every dad took their son out and made him a super athlete. And by the way, it might have been a little abusive on old Tiger. He seemed like have some mommy issues, so nothing's going to be perfect. But, and I agree with you, Eric. I mean, you want to put people in a position where they can make a difference, but I don't want them fighting my battle, man. Right? I don't. And the truth is, there's nothing in these schools they're going to learn that's going to actually make or break them educationally wise. Academically, most all the data is wrong anyway. That's the other thing. How long are we going to keep sending our kids to history classes knowing the fucking map's not even right? Not even the map, the story's not right. We're just constantly committing lies, the whole thing. And by the way, organized religion, I smash into the same exact educational bucket. I don't know why, but you clearly are not telling me the full truth and nothing but the truth, including if you don't know what the truth is. Mm-hmm. And instead you fucking made it up. The whole world we're living under, the adults are sitting here debating, probably the aliens are looking at us laughing their asses off. And look at the hubris of these kids.
Well, I think all of us would agree that the system is right. Like our goal saying send kids to public school isn't to defend the system. It's
at all. Yeah.
In order to like the generation, we failed to destroy the system, right? Like we collectively failed to bring down this evil system. The kids I'm telling you, it's this generation that like, oh, men can be women, women can be men. The breathing air is going to kill us all. Like, it's this generation, like that. Again, it goes back to, right? Like, hard times make strong men. Think about these kids, 9/11, COVID, like the shit that they hit, the psyops that these kids have gone through. Like this is going to be one tough, resilient, and based generation as a result. And right, they're going to lead the way for a better world. I truly believe that.
Yeah, and they know they're being lied to. I'm very, very bullish on Gen Z. And they know they're being lied to because they go to school, they hear one thing, they go online, they hear another. And, for me, from my perspective, I'll send my kids out there because I'm the one who was, Dustin and I have been in the same category for years, standing in the middle of a crowd who believes a lie, telling them it's a lie and trying to tell them the truth. That's the hardest thing you'll ever go through. But over time, it breaks and it bends and people start to realize, oh, maybe this isn't right. And I don't think it's, I appreciate your point, Dark, that it's our battle, but it's actually a nation's battle. I don't know that it's a parent's battle, because if it's not resolved in this time period, then it's just going to get worse and continue forward. And we need some form of education for young people. Obviously, we all want to learn things, and parenting, I think, is probably the biggest issue that we have right now. It's not necessarily our issues are multiplied as well. We have less time with our kids. We have more money issues in this country. People are worried about, how do I afford $73 for 4.5 pounds of red meat? There's a lot of things going on out there right now. And I think that if we are going to have a system that's going to be this busy and overbearing, and busy, somebody told me a long time ago, so I'll never forget, busy stands for being under Satan's yoke, which I thought was an awesome saying. So if we're going to be this busy, we need a place to send our kids, and we need them to be a positive influence and a negative influence, because that's the only way it gets broken. So we either smash the system, which is illogical at this point in time, or we change it from within. But I think we're actually, to be honest with you, this whole debate is fantastic, because I think we're going to see tremendous reform in the education system in this country. I think that's coming. And I think it's coming because a lot of parents pull their kids out of school. That pulled a lot of funding from the school. They got to rethink what they're doing. We've got a good president in here who's bringing in people and taking education serious again. And that's just kind of, I look at this stuff as a Paul Revere moment. You're either Paul Revere telling people that the redcoats are coming, or you're the guy grabbing your rifle. You're one of those two. And Paul Revere's been running through the town. It's time for us to grab our rifles and take back the things that are positive for a society, instead of sitting in the corner and just complaining about it. I think this is a great conversation, by the way. Love
You have
this
some
conversation.
great one-liners, Eric. I wrote that one down, the busy one down. We have
That's
almost
not from
3,000
me.
people. Well, it is in my head. We have almost 3,000 people here. Remember to like and share. That really helps our algorithm. And also remember that Gary does the Power of I Am on Sundays at 10:30 Eastern. And we also do a X Space on Bitcoin on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Eric's podcast too is phenomenal, especially the best guest he's ever had, which was mine.
I'm
Eric,
so
when
shadow
is that,
man.
Eric?
It's sporadic. It's just when I have folks to interview and they have time, I just publish them. I do about 2 or 3 a week. I do more, but like my analytics show 12 times the amount of viewers than you see on YouTube. So I don't know how long.
I have
much
listened to
longer I'll
some.
do it.
They're good. Yeah, they're good. You guys should check that out too.
Well, thank you.
Dustin, what do you have going on? Where people should follow you, buddy?
Twitter, or I guess X, although they've TikToked my Twitter, and I'm very upset about the whole thing. So I haven't been online a lot. Like, so maybe come find me when we start ringing the bells. Planning to break ground on the. Listen to this. So I'm planning this thing, the bell ringers. We're going to like ring the bells all over the country, build bell towers. It's going to be amazing. I put the idea out there. Somebody reached out to donate 17 acres and a mansion in New Mexico for the first campus. And
The Epstein's mansion?
It is not Zorro Ranch, Eric. Get that out of your head.
That's all right. It's a hoax anyway.
It really is kind of awesome. It's in the middle of nowhere, up towards the Colorado border, and we're looking to break ground in spring. And so become a bell ringer. All you have to do between now and September 11th, get a physical bell that when you ring it, it sounds appealing to your ear, and then wait for their instruction. It's going to be amazing.
Cool. Thanks, Dustin.
Dork, you're doing spaces, and anything else we need to know about you and where they follow you, my man?
Yeah, follow me on X on Twitter. We do Bitcoin spaces, really focused on learning intricacies of Bitcoin. I just want to say thank you to Dana for having us, and a special thank you to Gary, Dustin, Eric. It's really an honor to share a stage with you guys. Amazing conversation today. Thanks.
Always great to see you, Dark. I really appreciate you, brother.
Always.
We love having you on, Dark.
Likewise.
for
you're
sure.
awesome.
And Dana, thank you, Dana. You're doing a great job.
Absolutely, Dana.
I wouldn't be doing this without you, so for sure.
Thanks, guys.
We do need topics. Okay, we need topics that you guys find interesting. I'm surprised we don't get more that you should, talk about this or that.
So Eric picked the topic today. He sent me a few that were really good, and Dark jumped on it because Dark does homeschooling. So
I'm just surprised from the audience, though, that they don't have a bone to pick on a subject.
I think H-1B visas need to be a topic in this country. It's something H-1B visas, learn what they are, see what they do, see how corporations use it to basically bring in people from other countries that won't assimilate to undercut your kids.
Well, Eric,
hundreds of thousands.
Look, why don't we do this? Eric, why don't we do this? Why don't you have that topic? Now go find 3 people that would do really well on that subject, or 2 more people, because
Sure.
we just can't ask the same people. It's going to get boring.
Sure. Yeah, I'll find 4 new people for you.
Maybe
I
call
just did
Fred.
one.
Fred Krueger wants to start an all-in podcast part 2, so maybe he'll dig it. But I think there's so many topics. Like I could roll off 10 topics and start arguing with somebody over it immediately.
I think AI in the workplace. So I get asked for this stuff. I just got asked to speak about AI in the workplace. I declined the conversation because no one knows. No one knows what's going to happen in the workplace right now. So it's kind of a nebulous
We should
debate.
get some Bitcoiners in here. I'd like to have that conversation. Government on the blockchain. Government.
I'm deep on that. I've been doing some
AI. Excuse me. Using AI for government.
I actually I think that's like voting on chains, also another really interesting topic that I could bring in a couple of the like quote unquote paper balloters to argue like, oh no, we shouldn't do it on the blockchain.
I can bring in the guys who
Bring
did the
them
time
in.
chain in
I wanna hear that.
Guatemala. Yeah, I can get those guys who did the voting for Guatemala on the time chain and get them to explain that as well.
Okay, guys, we really appreciate you. I'm sure we'll see you each in your respective educational platforms, adding value to the world as you all do. Dana, Hal is awesome. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week, Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. We will be debating something that will make your stomach turn, I promise you. No more of these little lame subjects like education for our children. Who cares? Let's talk about something that's really invoking passion. Okay, guys.
Wow.
Dana, you go ahead and close it out, sweetie.
Follow all these guys. Just remember to follow everyone here. We'll see you on the Power by Am this Sunday at 10:30 Eastern on Gary's channel. Bye, guys.